Did you know that a seemingly harmless fruit can silently increase your risk of a stroke overnight? There are fruits that you eat all your life, but after the age of 60, they can become hidden enemies that harm your brain and heart. Imagine you go to bed healthy, but wake up the next morning unable to talk or move one side of your body, and the culprit is a familiar fruit. Welcome to Healthy Roots 999, a channel that brings scientific information and practical. If you're over 60, please hear this. A simple piece of fruit, something you've probably eaten your whole life, could quietly be raising your risk of stroke while you sleep. No symptoms, no warning. You go to bed feeling fine and wake up unable to speak, stand, or even move one side of your body. I know this sounds shocking, but as a brain doctor, I've seen it happen too many times. And not from smoking or junk food, but from fruit. Yes. Even something that seems so healthy and innocent can become risky when your body changes with age. After 60, your kidneys, liver, blood vessels, and brain don't handle sugar, potassium, or acid the same way. Medications, a slower circulation, and nighttime dehydration all add up, turning one simple fruit into a silent threat. That's why today I want to walk with you through the 6 common fruits that may be doing more harm than good, especially if you eat them at the wrong time or in the wrong combination. If you're watching this and want more practical, science-backed tips for protecting your brain and heart, please subscribe to Healthy Roots 999 and leave a comment below with the word yes if this topic hits close to home. You might be surprised by which fruits made this list and why. Let's start with one of the most common, my friend. Let's talk about something simple but potentially dangerous: bananas. Yes, those soft, sweet, friendly fruits we've all loved since childhood. They're easy to digest, full of nutrients, and feel like a safe snack. But after the age of 60, eating bananas, especially overripe ones, might not be as harmless as you think. An overripe banana has a very high glycemic index. It causes your blood sugar to spike faster, and that can be a big deal if you're over 60. Why? Because as we age, our ability to manage potassium, blood sugar, and blood pressure declines. The kidneys slow down, insulin sensitivity weakens, and blood vessels get stiffer. This means that something as innocent as a mushy speckled banana could raise your blood sugar sharply, increase blood pressure, and even affect heart rhythm due to the high potassium load. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Illinois. She always had 1 or 2 overripe bananas in the morning, sometimes blending them into a smoothie. She thought it was a healthy start to her day, but one morning, she felt dizzy after waking up and her speech was slurred. Her husband rushed her to the ER. The doctors diagnosed her with a mild ischemic stroke. Her blood pressure had spiked overnight and her potassium levels were high. They told her that while bananas weren't the only factor, the combination of sugar, potassium, and her morning dehydration created the perfect storm. Margaret made a small change. After that, she started eating smaller, greener bananas, and only after drinking water and having a bit of protein. First, her energy improved and her blood pressure became more stable. The takeaway bananas are not the enemy, but overripe bananas, especially in large amounts or on an empty stomach, can quietly push vulnerable seniors toward a stroke. And here's the thing, bananas aren't the only fruit with this hidden danger. Next, Let's talk about grapes. Tiny, sweet, and refreshing, but with a surprisingly high sugar load that might be even more risky. Grapes, they look harmless, don't they? Tiny, sweet, refreshing, served with lunch, tossed into salads, or offered as a light snack with the grandkids. But for someone over 60, grapes may not be as innocent as they seem. Here's why. Grapes are pure sugar in a small package. Even the seedless ones, especially the extra sweet varieties sold in most grocery stores, are packed with glucose and fructose. When you eat a handful, especially on an empty stomach, that sugar goes straight into your bloodstream. Fast. As we get older, our insulin response slows down. Our blood vessels get more delicate. That sudden sugar spike doesn't just give you a quick burst of energy, it stresses your brain and heart in ways you may not even feel. Inside those fragile vessels, sugar causes tiny bits of inflammation, microscopic swelling, and damage, which the body tries to repair by forming clots. These are small at first, you won't notice them, but day after day, the risk adds up. Until one morning, you can't find your balance or your words won't come out right. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Evelyn Morris, 79. A retired music teacher from Colorado. She was sharp, independent, and loved her routine, especially her mid-morning bowl of red grapes while reading. Some days, she'd eat 2 cups without even thinking. Then one day, while writing a birthday card to her grandson, she noticed her hand trembling. A few minutes later, she couldn't remember how to spell congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the ER. It was a min-stroke, a transient ischemic attack. Her blood sugar had spiked. Her labs showed low-grade inflammation and pre-diabetic markers she never knew she had. She thought she was doing everything right. But even fruit, if eaten in the wrong way, can quietly turn dangerous. So here's what I now tell my patients. Never eat grapes on an empty stomach. Don't eat them by the bowl. Instead, enjoy a small handful and always pair them with a few almonds or a slice of cheese to slow down the sugar rush. And please avoid grapes at night. Your body needs a stable blood flow while you sleep, not sugar spikes. If you're diabetic or on blood pressure medication, ask your doctor first before making grapes a regular part of your day. Because even something so small can quietly become a big risk, especially when you're not watching for it. Now, if you think grapes were surprising, wait until we talk about pineapple, that sweet tropical bite you enjoy after dinner. It might be quietly interfering with your brain while you sleep. Let me explain why next. For older adults, especially those taking medication or dealing with circulation issues, pineapple can quietly create the perfect storm for stroke risk. Let me explain why. Pineapple contains a natural enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, it may help break down protein and ease digestion. But in larger amounts, or when combined with blood thinners or medications that affect clotting bromelain, can actually disrupt your body's ability to clot properly. In plain terms, it can make your blood too thin. And that opens the door for something even more serious, brain bleeds, a form of a stroke that's much harder to recover from. But that's not the only danger. Pineapple is also very high in sugar, with a high glycemic index. That means it floods your bloodstream with sugar quickly, especially risky if you eat it after dinner when your body is slowing down and no longer burning energy. That sugar sits, circulates, and puts stress on your blood vessels while you sleep. That reflux can cause tiny amounts of stomach acid to enter your airway while you sleep, lowering oxygen to your brain. This kind of low oxygen stress has been directly linked to early morning strokes, the most dangerous kind. Let me share the story of Mrs. Clara Hughes, 77, a retired choir director from North Carolina. She thought she was doing everything right. Instead of cake or cookies, she'd enjoy a few slices of fresh pineapple after dinner every night. But one morning, she woke up dizzy and couldn't walk straight. Her daughter noticed her speech was slurred. At the hospital, scans confirmed a small posterior stroke 1 that affected balance and memory. Her blood sugar was high, her platelet levels were off, and tests showed signs of reflux-induced oxygen drops during sleep. It wasn't one cause, it was the combination. Sugar acid, bromelain, all from the fruit she trusted. So here's my advice. Enjoy pineapple earlier in the day and only in small portions. Never eat it on an empty stomach and avoid combining it with blood-thinning medications unless your doctor approves. And most importantly, never eat pineapple before bed. Your brain needs rest and steady oxygen, not surprises, because even something that tastes light and healthy can become a silent risk, especially overnight. And if you think pineapple is risky, wait until you hear about watermelon, the fruit we all think is hydrating. But in some cases, it may be quietly dehydrating your brain. Let's talk about that next. Yes, watermelon, the summer favorite. It's light, juicy, refreshing, and 90% water. Most people think it's the perfect way to stay hydrated, especially on a warm day. But for older adults, watermelon can be quietly misleading. Here is something most people don't realize. Watermelon acts like a natural diuretic. That means it makes you urinate more, which might sound harmless until you remember that many seniors are already on water pills or blood pressure medications that also remove fluid from the body. If you eat a big serving of watermelon in the evening, especially after taking your meds, you could be setting yourself up for overnight dehydration. That's when your body loses too much fluid while you sleep, and you don't even feel it happening. So what does that mean? When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker. It flows more slowly like syrup. And that thickened blood increases the chance of clot formation, especially in narrow, aging arteries. Combine that with lower blood pressure during sleep, and you have the perfect conditions for a silent stroke. Let me tell you about Mr. Howard Lynn, 82, a retired postal worker from Indiana. He was doing everything right, walking daily, avoiding sweets, trying to stay healthy. One of his habits after dinner, he'd enjoy 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon to cool down and stay hydrated. But one morning, he woke up dizzy. When he tried to stand, he collapsed. At the ER, his blood pressure was dangerously low, and his labs showed signs of dehydration and thickened blood. A scan confirmed a small ischemic stroke, likely caused by a clot forming overnight when his blood flow had slowed too much. Howard had no idea that the watermelon, something he saw as healthy, was pulling water out of his system, not putting it in. And when combined with his diuretic medication, it tipped the balance. So what's the takeaway? Enjoy watermelon earlier in the day and in moderation. If you're on water pills, talk to your doctor before making it a regular habit. Pair it with electrolytes like a pinch of salt or a sip of coconut water to help your body retain hydration. And please avoid eating it at night. If you notice things like dry mouth, morning dizziness, or feeling off balance, when you wake up, don't ignore those signs. They could be whispers from your body that something isn't right. Now, watermelon may be surprising, but what about oranges? A fruit that has long been praised for vitamin C and heart health. Could it really interact with your medications in a dangerous way? Let's take a closer look. Next, a glass of orange juice with breakfast. A sliced orange on the table, maybe even tucked into a Christmas stocking by your grandkids. But here is something most seniors were never told. Oranges, and especially orange juice, can quietly interfere with your medications. It's not just the sugar though. One glass of orange juice can spike your blood sugar quickly. The real concern is a natural compound found in citrus fruits, like oranges, grapefruit, and even several oranges. It's called furanocoumarin. Now that's a big word, but here's what it does. Furanocoumarin interferes with the enzymes in your liver, specifically the ones that process many common medications. When that happens, your body either holds on to too much of the drug or it doesn't process it at all. That means a blood pressure medication you've taken for years could suddenly become too strong, dropping your blood pressure too low. Or a statin for cholesterol could build up and cause a muscle inflammation or brain fog. Or a blood thinner might stop working properly, leaving your blood unstable and raising your stroke risk without warning. This isn't a theory. I've seen it firsthand. Take Mr. Albert Bryant, 79, a retired bus driver from Georgia. He had a morning ritual he loved: fresh, squeezed orange juice with his breakfast taken alongside his heart and cholesterol meds. He called it his sunshine in a glass. But over time, he started feeling dizzy, lightheaded, when standing a little confused some mornings. One day he collapsed, getting out of his recliner. Doctors discovered he'd had a minor ischemic stroke, and his blood work showed dangerously elevated drug levels. Even though he hadn't changed his doses, what changed was his daily orange juice habit. The citrus compounds had slowed his liver's ability to break down medications. His system had quietly overloaded. So here's what I recommend to all my older patients. Limit orange juice or skip it altogether if you take medications like statins, calcium channel blockers, or blood thinners. Don't mix citrus with your pills. Ask your doctor if you're unsure. If you love a citrus flavor, try a small splash of lemon or lime in water instead. It has fewer interactions. Because at this stage in life, even something as simple as an orange can tip the balance inside your body without you realizing it. And if that made you rethink your morning routine, wait until you hear what I have to say about mangoes. A sweet tropical treat that could be raising your blood sugar and slowing your liver all at once. Let's talk about it next. Soft, juicy, naturally sweet. It feels like a tropical reward, a fruit that seems too delicious to be dangerous. But if you're over 60, especially if you're taking medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or cholesterol, mango might be doing more harm than good. Here's why. Mango is one of the highest sugar fruits on grocery shelves. Just 1 cup of ripe mango contains nearly 45 grams of natural sugar. That's more than the sugar in a donut. Now think about what that does to an aging body. Your insulin response is slower. Your blood vessels are more fragile. A sudden sugar spike creates inflammation inside your arteries, especially those leading to your brain. That inflammation can cause tiny cracks in the vessel walls. And what does your body do when there's a crack? It forms a blood clot to patch it up. In a younger body, this might not be a big deal, but in a senior with narrowed arteries, that clot can easily block blood flow to the brain, leading to a stroke. Mango also contains a compound called mangiferine. Sounds harmless, right? But mangiferine can interfere with your liver's ability to process medications, especially ones that use the cytochrome P450 enzyme system. That includes many common heart cholesterol and blood pressure drugs. So instead of your body safely clearing those medications, they build up in your system. You don't feel it at first until you feel dizzy, weak, or worse, until your blood pressure crashes or your heart rhythm changes without warning. Let me share a real story. Mr. William Booker, 83, a retired firefighter from Nevada, decided to eat clean by replacing cookies with dried mango slices each afternoon. He was also on medication for atrial fibrillation and high blood pressure. After a few weeks, he started waking up light-aided. One morning, he collapsed while getting out of bed. His wife noticed the left side of his face looked droopy. At the hospital, scans showed a mild ischemic stroke. Blood tests revealed that his medication levels were abnormally high despite taking the correct dosage. The cause? His liver couldn't process the drugs properly thanks to daily mango. So here's my advice to you. If you enjoy mango, eat only a few bites and only during the day. Never eat mango before bed, especially not dried mango. It's even more concentrated. Always pair it with protein or fat, like nuts or cheese, to slow sugar absorption. And most importantly, if you're taking any prescriptions for heart or blood pressure, talk to your doctor first. Now that we've gone through these 6 surprising fruits, you might be feeling a little unsure about what's truly safe. And that's completely okay, because recognizing the risks is the first step toward protecting your brain and heart for years to come. As we get older, even healthy habits need a second look. Fruits that once helped us may now quietly work against us, especially when mixed with medications or eaten at the wrong time. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. You don't have to give up fruit, you just have to eat it wisely. Smaller portions earlier in the day, paired with protein or healthy fat, and always with your doctor's guidance. Your brain, your heart, and your independence are worth protecting. If this video helped you rethink your choices, please like this video, subscribe to Healthy Roots 999, and leave a comment below with the word aware to let us know you're taking action. And remember, you've made it this far in life with strength and wisdom. Now is the time to eat, to